Okay, welcome back to Toe Family. We're here with another one. I am very, very happy to be able to be speaking with.
Renaedamuse.
Okay, thank you for reaching out to us. I really do appreciate it. Guys, remember you can always reach out to us. We don't always have to reach out to you guys. If you really feel like you have a talent that you want us to display, just reach out to us either on our Instagram page or comment on our YouTube page and we'll make sure to get back to you. So let's start by, talking a little bit about your journey. So, first, what type of art do you create and how did you get into that?
So I started music when I was 5. I started piano when I was 9. I started the violin. Growing up, my mom taught me how to sing, and like she nurtured that, and also in the church. But then when I left the church, I still knew I had a voice, and I still wanted to sing. I was kind of like in my soul. I always wanted to be a singer because I wrote songs a lot and I wrote poetry, but I never actually thought of it as something serious. I would be like, oh, when I'm 40, I'm gonna put a song out. But then I was like, hold on, like why don't I just do it now?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's just see how it goes. Like I love music. Like when I'm not feeling my
Mm-hmm.
best, and you can always use music as an outlet. No matter how you're feeling, there's always a song for that. And so I started to realize as I started to make music and write music that my music was getting deeper and it was becoming more personal to me. Like my songs were something that it was personal to me, but it was also helping other people when I shared them with people. As I got more confident in that and grew into that, it became okay, this has nothing to do with me. It's more of I have a message to say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's music for me.
So, one, hearing that you are multi talented in several different instruments is inspiring for me. I like to sing, but I've always wanted to learn to play piano or even guitar. Which one, you said you did piano and violin, right? So, which one was harder to learn?
The violin was definitely harder to learn, but if you already play like an instrument that, like especially the piano, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like a percussion, it'll be easy for you to learn another instrument
Okay.
for
And
sure.
you said singing was something that your mother taught you with piano and violin. Were any of those self-taught, or that was
That
also
was
because of the class that you're in?
Yeah, piano and violin was definitely only in classes. I took classes at a place called Mind Builders Creative Arts Center in the Bronx, and I took classes there from when I was 5 up until I was 17. So I spent a lot of years there with just the same two teachers for the whole time. With my piano, with violin, I had a couple different teachers, but they were all great teachers. And yeah, I learned not very quickly at all. It was a long process, honestly, like a lot of trial and error. I'd never like to practice, which now that comes into like when I write songs, it's hard for me to like sit there and like if I'm having trouble for me to sit there and like stay and be persistent because I grew up with the habit of not practicing
Hmm.
with piano and violin. So now getting into changing that is a hard thing, but yeah.
I mean, you figured it out. You're very talented,
Thank
and
you.
hard work definitely pays off. So you said you took that class in the Bronx. So is that where you're originally from?
Yes, I'm from the Bronx originally. I just moved out to Bridgeport last year. So yeah, I love CT though. I love it out here.
So was there a difference in how either location impacted your music, or can you talk about that?
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like New York, like it's a lot of music out there. It's
Hmm.
so many different people that make music, and I feel like it's a little more competitive, if I'm being honest with you, where it's not as like you're gonna get support for sure, but it's going to be harder to get people to give you that without having someone else already doing that for you. Like
Hmm.
you have to have a fan base. What I'm saying is like in New York, it's easier for someone who already has a fan base, someone who's already a known person to come up and make music. When it's somebody else, they don't really get that same energy. To be
Hmm.
honest, in CT, you guys kind of created this kind of community. You guys have like a big platform for small artists, and
Hmm.
I feel like in New York it's harder for small artists to have that big platform because yeah, a lot of people are just focused on their own selves, when out here I feel like it's more of a community.
Interesting, because I think a lot of people from a smaller place like CT is like, oh, I have to branch out to New York. I have to, pretend that I'm from LA as soon as I get a little bit of fame because nobody from this smaller place is going to give me props. But for you, you had a different experience. you find that being in CT is actually better for your career. Um, so how would you describe your personality style? Are you introverted or extroverted?
I would say like I'm both. Whereas
Mhm.
like I would be in a room. It depends on the vibe of the room,
Mhm.
honestly. Like if I'm in a room and I feel like okay, like a little anxious, I feel like my energy doesn't really belong there.
Mhm.
That's what that means to me. So I'm just not gonna really speak. I'm just gonna observe. I'm just gonna like look around, be quiet. If I feel comfortable in a room, you're gonna see me like talking to everybody.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get to know everyone. You know, I'm more extroverted. So yeah, it really depends.
Mhm.
I'm
And
both.
how does that play into when you start to be able to perform at these places? Do you have the stage fright before you go on? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I definitely do. Well, recently I've been getting a little better with stage fright
Mhm.
where I can like when I realize that if I speak to everyone before, I get more comfortable with the audience because
Mhm.
I already know like some people I already said, you know, hi to some people, introduce myself to some people. So doing that now has helped me with my stage fright and stuff. But before, stage fright was kind of like a big thing for me with my music, especially performing my own songs. So that I would be like, I don't know if someone's gonna like mess with this because I
Mhm.
don't make like like mainstream type of music. Like it's not really like something that you will hear and off the bat you're gonna like really fuck with because it's not really mainstream. Well, that's for like most people.
Mhm.
Like I see like when I'm performing like the audience like at first they're just like hold on like this is different like they're
Yeah.
just staring at me and then as I go on then they start to feel it so I feel like that's very intimidating it's intimidating as
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Well, interesting that you talk about your style of music. I was gonna ask you, how would you describe your style and how did you personalize that? Because I find it interesting that you got a lot of experience growing up inside the church, which I find that a lot of people do, but at the same time, not everybody's music sounds the same when they come from the church. So how did you personalize the type of music that you create now?
Yeah, coming from the church, my music has always like I was raised in a very Christian household. So my parents were both my dad was a minister, my mom was a singer in the church and stuff. And so being raised in a household where I was just hearing gospel music all day, that was kind of like in my spirit. So like my spirit always wanted music that I noticed like when I listen to songs, like I always like to hear music that was feeding your soul, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because that's what I was used to. And also like with piano and violin, like I had to sit there and I had to focus on the song. So it was always something that had like a lot of meaning. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the music I was used to. And so with the way I make music, I realized that when I first started out, it was more of in this moment I feel this way, I'm gonna spit this, and then that was that. It was just a moment. This is how I feel in a moment. Now it's more of as I get more like conscious and I
Mm-hmm.
get like, more aware of myself as a person and, of this earth, I start to realize that my music is meant to really like feed the soul. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I was raised in the way I was raised, but like in a different way, not really the traditional Christian way at all or like the
Mm-hmm.
traditional gospel way at all, more in a just spiritual, like
Yeah.
yeah.
And being that you were raised Christian and you obviously have a lot of probably family that around you that are also Christian, do you feel that um that same support for your music style was kept from everybody or you had certain people that didn't appreciate it?
Yeah, I definitely feel like my family is supportive,
Hmm.
but that's like, my younger family, the ones who are
Yeah.
like our age, who's more aware of the way of the world now, where my parents and like my aunts and uncles, they will probably hear my songs and be like, you're
Yeah.
cursing. That's all they would focus on.
Yeah.
Or like they would be like, this isn't, I didn't hear anything, really, whereas, I don't know, like
That said God and I'm
yeah,
praising,
worshiping and
yeah.
yeah, it's not really about that. It's more of just being aware of yourself and just like I feel like it's a lot of messages that we all receive. Like so it's a lot going on right now in the world,
Hmm.
and I feel like we're all aware of that. Like we may not speak on it, but just I want to be like that little voice,
Yeah.
to like help you realize that we're all one and we're all going through a lot, but in different ways. And the reason why we do it is all for one. It's all comes from one source.
Hmm.
So
Well, I
yeah.
really do appreciate how, even though your music may not be branded as gospel music, you still have some of the same notions deep within. I want to touch people, I want to reach people's soul. And I think at the root of gospel music, that is the point, you know. So I
For
really do
sure.
appreciate how that part of it never left you,
Yeah,
you know.
thank
So I
you.
like that.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the process of you beginning to start music, because you spoke about how your mother helped you start singing.
Mhm.
How did the transition go from learning how to sing to now produce or getting your music produced?
Yeah, so you have
I
some
keep
amazing
stumping you. I'm
questions.
sorry.
Yeah, I love your questions. So coming from like my mom teaching me how to sing, she kind of helped me realize and helped me become confident in my voice. So in fourth grade, it's so funny. I had like a little band with like my friends,
Mhm.
and we wrote songs and we sang. And so that was another place where I was able to be confident in my voice. And so growing up after that, I was kind of like just doing in like singing in the church, but it wasn't really in the same way. Like I knew I had a good voice, but it was in a choir
Mhm.
or like in a group, which I had no problem with, you know.
Mhm.
But just I was more small about my voice.
Mhm.
And so after like when I left the church and everything, I was like, yo, I like to sing. Like I feel like I love music. Like I want to incorporate that in my life. And it was
Mhm.
at first just started as a hobby. I just want to do music. I started to write songs. I started to realize the poems that I wrote, like as when I was like growing up, teenage years, were songs,
Mhm.
and I turned them into songs. And then I started to realize that I could come up with good
Mhm.
melodies, and that's like something I'm blessed with. And so I went to the studio, and I was very shy.
Mhm.
Um,
First studio
it
experiences are
was
always
just,
like that.
yeah, I was like in the headphones, I was like, hold on, like I feel like I could sing, but when I'm hearing myself, this is cringy as fuck. Like no, I sound crazy. Like I was just, yeah, it took a little bit, like it took like up until like the third session for real for me to like be like, okay, like I like this sounds
Mhm.
nice. And I started to realize I don't like certain things, like I don't like auto tune over my voice for a certain amount, or like if it's a certain song, I don't want my voice to sound this way or that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just, yeah, kind of detaching from that in a way,
Yeah.
because like sometimes when I hear my songs, I don't even feel like it's me, to be honest.
Well,
Yeah.
you obviously come a long way, because I saw you got the opportunity to perform at the Break from Normal Fashion Show.
Yes,
You know, how was that experience?
that was like my favorite experience. Like oh my god, that was a great freaking day. Like that was a
Mhm.
great time. Like the models were amazing, the message was so beautiful. Like Chastity and its like her production was just beautiful. Like the dancers, everything was so incorporated so beautifully, and I just being able to be a part of that. And like
Mhm.
I really sat like before and thought of like the songs that I wanted to share, and I was like, you know, I really want to share something that goes with the message of mental health. Also, they had a message that I felt like needed to be heard, because I've been through like a lot of things with my mental health, and I had like music that I listened to. So those are the songs that kind of like were inspired by the fact that I want people to have something to listen to when they're not feeling their best. And
Mhm.
that was Chastity's message. Like her message was about mental health, and like people go through a lot of really crazy shit, and like you really it's not really it's very taboo,
Mhm.
but she made it something that wasn't taboo, and she put it out in such a way where it's like you have to see this, like
Mhm.
this is the message. And so being able to be a part of that, it was a great
Mhm.
experience.
And was that your first performance, or
uh,
it wasn't?
no, it wasn't my first performance, but it was definitely my first performance in that type of setting,
Mhm.
and I definitely am looking forward to more performances like that for sure. Yeah.
All right. And so you spoke about how you don't consider your music really mainstream. Um, who would you say are some of your musical inspirations that you kind of got your, or not got your style from, but you know, kind of inspired you to create your own style?
um I would say my inspirations would be like Erica Badu,
Mm-hmm.
Lauren Hill, even though like I can't spit like Lauren, like I can't spit like Erica
Hey, it
either,
doesn't take one
but
day.
yeah, like those are definitely my inspirations. Janae Aiku,
Mm-hmm.
that type of vibe. Like those are definitely my inspirations with my music, and I feel like that is like kind of like just me as a person, like my character.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And you also did Pitch My Song. How was that? Was that, you know, similar to the fashion show experience, or was it a little bit different?
Yes, it was similar, but with the type of the crowd that it was, definitely, but it was different because it was more of they had speakers there who they had speakers there who sorry. It had speakers there who were there just to help the artists learn more about the industry. And
Hmm.
so being able to be a part of that and just sit there and have that inspiration was a great experience. Like that was something I was really, really excited to be a part of. And that was something that kind of like after that, like I was really inspired. Like I just kind of just took off after that
Hmm.
with my creativity because that was something that really inspired me. Pitch My Song was like such a beautiful event. I love that. Yeah.
And you know, I think that those smaller, or at the time they're huge, but those are very, very good opportunities, and I really like how that inspired you to, keep on pushing forward.
Thank you.
I didn't ask, how long have you actually been making songs and making your own music?
So it's been like 2 years
Hmm.
since I was like 18. I've been making music, like I would say officially, like as in I'm calling myself an artist,
Hmm.
but to like write a song for real since like fourth grade. But that was just like playful, like
Yeah.
yeah.
But those are very, very big opportunities to only be making music officially for 2 years.
Thank you.
That just goes to
Yeah,
show that
I'm
your
very
future
grateful.
is, huge.
Thank you. I'm very freaking grateful. Like those
Hmm.
were things that really inspired me and really helped me realize that I'm on like the path I'm supposed to be on. I should continue forward. And also not only me, but the fact that like these are things that I just reach out to people about.
Hmm.
And even like this interview, like just reaching out to people and putting yourself out there, you don't know what can happen for it. And I feel like that's really just me in general. Like the reason why I started this, I was like, wait, hold on. I could write songs, I can make music. Why don't I put this out there? Why don't I share this with the world? And I feel like that's kind of like my message. Like I want everyone to realize like they can do. You can if you say you want to do something, do whatever you can to get there, and don't be scared of it because you don't know what it can turn out to be.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate how you seem very good at advocating for yourself, because even this experience and those other experiences, to some extent, you have to, okay, say, I am my own, manager right now, I guess so to say. I have to put my name out there and let people know that I'm worth their time.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that some people struggle with, because when you're first starting off, you're like, okay, I think I'm good, but is somebody else gonna think I'm good?
Right. It takes like that
Yeah.
Kanye type of energy you gotta have. Like honestly, like when you're sitting to yourself, you gotta gas yourself up. Like you gotta look at your song, you gotta be like, yo, or like whatever you do, like the interviews that you edit and like, hold on, like I did this really
Yeah.
freaking good. I really did this. Like, like really just gas yourself up by yourself so that voice can always like you make that a habit within you so that when you're outside and like even when negativity is around you, that voice can still like say in your head as in like, hold on, but I said this and this is me, and go back to that root of who you are. I feel like
Hmm.
that's really what it is. And I feel like everyone can be like be just like that.
Mm.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of your future goals? Down the line for your career.
My future goals are definitely to just I want to tour. I want to
Hmm.
go like travel the world. I just want to share my songs with everybody. I want to raise like the vibrations of the people, like the masses. I want to see people in the crowds like crying, but like not
Hmm.
sad. Like you're crying, you're releasing whatever negativity that you had because maybe that's something that I said sparked that or
Hmm.
inspired you to feel like that's my name is Renaedamuse for that
Hmm.
reason because I want to be inspiration to the people, and I feel like we're all creatives, so my songs are like the inspiration. Like I'm just a vessel of that. Like I'm
Hmm.
not, yeah. And I feel like
Yeah.
just I don't know.
And you already hit on one of my questions. It was going to be, what is your motivation? But you seem like you're very, very motivated, not only by wanting to create your own art, but also to reach the masses. Um, and so, would you agree? First of all.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I definitely feel like that's definitely my purpose here, like in the world. Like I detach a lot from my music because I when I write a song and I look at it, I really see like the depth of it, and I see like, wow, I can't keep this silent. I can't just not spread this. Like I need to write a melody over this. I need to work on this because this needs to be heard.
Hmm.
And just realizing that comes from source, and like I am just a vessel of source. We are all just vessels of source. Like the music is the inspiration to inspire us all, to wake us all up, because I'm even inspired from my music because I kind of detach from it. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So, with that being said, what would you like to say for people that are maybe afraid to start their musical journey or any journey for that matter, just out of fear that the people that they want to reach won't hear it or won't see it?
Wow. I would definitely say, like, don't ever let any of your experiences in life, like the things that you've been through, like no, like the negative experiences, like be like the title that you have. Like
Hmm.
definitely detach yourself and realize that the things that you went through them to push you to become that person, to be just become the strongest force that you can be, not to deter you away from doing the things that you want to do. And finding your strength within yourself is going to be the root, and it's going to be the thing that motivates you the most. And yeah, it's a hard journey, it's a long journey, and like we all go through it, we're all going through it at all times. But it's life. You don't, you know, you want to live,
Hmm.
you want to live fully, and you just want to, you know, like I
Hmm.
was just inspired, like try to tell, let people know that, you know, you don't just want to stay in one box wondering. You kind of just want to do and experience. That's what we're here for. And what is life if you're not experiencing and doing all that you want to do and take, you know, like that's what we're here for real.
And would you agree that in the journey of trying to brand yourself, those negative experiences are also just as important as the good ones in shaping yourself?
Yes, definitely, definitely. I definitely feel like that my negative experiences are the ones that motivate me the most, because
Hmm.
after something negative happens, and like say even like my from my reaction, I would sit there and I'd be like, okay, why did I react that way? What triggered me to feel this way? Or okay, how did this person or this thing, what within this made me feel the way that I feel right now?
Hmm.
And kind of like learning that lesson and teaching myself that lesson from a negative experience is like you're leveling up every time. So like another time you realize, you're like, hold on, I know this game, you know.
Hmm. Well, listen, I think that just about does it. Thank you so much for speaking with us. I really do feel as though,
Thank
where
you.
you are in your career, 2 years to be where you are with your mindset, is huge. I
Thank
really
you.
do feel as though a lot of people who are starting off in the industry could really learn from your mindset, and that
Thank you. I
alone can really
appreciate
push
you.
them forward.
I appreciate you.
No problem. So, last thing, just tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can find your music.
So you can find me on IG, Renaedamuse, Renaedamuse. That's also my name on all streaming platforms, Renaedamuse. Yeah, buy with me. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And it's a wrap. Welcome back to 12 Family. Today I have the pleasure of speaking to
Chastity and Eve.
Oh my, and this is such a big one. If you are from New Haven or, honestly, so many other areas in CT, you have definitely heard of this name. So let's start by where are you from?
I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport. Was it challenging to branch out coming from there?
No, not really. I feel like my mom, she's an entrepreneur. Well, both my parents are entrepreneurs, so I feel like I was able to gain experience like talking to new people, and also gaining like from their connections. I was able to gain um, models from different areas and things like that. So, yeah.
And I would just like you, because off camera you told me this, but please mention your age, and because I'm so amazed by that.
I'm 21. I turned 22 in November. Scorpio gang.
And how long have you been putting on fashion shows?
So my first show ever, I don't really count it, but my first show ever was in high school, and it was my senior year, and I was about 17 back then, so like I was really interested in fashion production, not just modeling, but like directing and set design, things like that. But I just didn't really find I had the passion for it, but I didn't really know how to go about it because everyone was trying to push me to go to like college and go that route. So I did my first like solo show when I turned 19, and It was in August 2019. So yeah, yeah, that was my experience. Yeah.
And I think that it's fair to say you're one of the biggest names right now